diabetes world. Current blood sugar is at 10.5. We have 7.475 units of insulin. Corrections have been going pretty steady. Yesterday morning I dropped, and then I went up to about 12, almost 13. It's 12.7. And then it came down, didn't go low, went up, came down. I think while blood sugars are not a flat line thing, I still think there is some work we need to be doing here a bit. I'd like to get rid of these highs, and like I said in the last video, the philosophy here is, well, it's better to be high than to be low. And I understand that, but it also, for years, we've been hearing, well, it's, you got to bring down your blood sugar, bring down your blood sugar. And if it's better to be high than to be low, then I just thought of an answer to that. It's better to be high than to be low. Well, then how about controlling your diabetes? For years you were told to keep it in line. It may not need to be down to 3 or 4, but on the whole, what I'm experiencing here, we need a little tighter control with the pump. And go watch yesterday's video. I have a whole video on what they want to do with the pump. But today we're going to discuss choosing an endocrinologist. And should you be happy with the one you have? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, for those of you who don't know, an endocrinologist is a doctor who specializes in anything inside your trunk. So between the groin and the neck, that's all endocrinology. They do hormone therapies, they do diabetes. Diabetes is pretty much their bread and butter. They do a few other things, hormones, I said, but it's important that you see one. For years, I did treatments without seeing an endocrinologist. And I think I really kind of hurt myself. I wasn't following any sort of plan. I eat what I want. I just took the insulin. And I had a bad experience when I was in the hospital. First time, just being diagnosed. I was a 13-year-old kid, and this doctor yelled at me, and he should have had a stern talk with me, but he yelled at me. And I won't go into the story because we've done the story on this video, but I didn't feel comfortable with endos. I got my next endo I got purely by accident. And we were over, I was admitted to Lionsgate Hospital and my blood sugars were through the roof. I met up with Dr. John Hunt, who was an expert. And he got me on my first pump. And that was awesome. That was my first taste of not having to do shots all the time. Do a shot once or twice, and eventually that pump kind of gave way because they stopped making it. You couldn't get the insulin, and we moved over from North Vancouver to East Van, and I would just deal with Burnaby Hospital, who was like 3 blocks away, and they didn't have an endocrinologist program there at the time. I believe now they do. So, okay. So from there, sorry, I'm thinking I have a air mattress that sinks and refills. So if I seem like I'm dropping, I am. So I ended up staying with Burnaby for a while and then moved to New Westminster and got a endocrinologist purely by accident. And she was one that I stayed with her for 20 years. And she really worked on controlling me. She brought me ahead. She brought me into dealing more with the pump. She introduced me slowly to the pump. She was a real expert. And when she retired to go teach, I ended up with a colleague of hers. He worked out of a different office, but that's the endocrinologist I have now. It's hard to believe that I lucked out. I lucked out that I had a good endocrinologist who fought for me and would go one step after another and really make sure I had the best control possible. And I have never really had to stop going to an endocrinologist because I never felt like they knew what they were not doing or what they were doing wasn't correct. But what happens if you get an endocrinologist you really don't like? I know a lot of times it can take a lot to go in and see an endocrinologist. Whereas people think, oh, well, I have to go see a specialist. I'll get into an endocrinologist. And they think, oh, well, I'll go into emergency, see them in the hospital, and then they'll just say, come and see me over there. It doesn't necessarily work that way. I know my current doctor it's almost a year to get in to see him. If you're a new case, it's almost a year. For me, he's made an appointment and I'm able to get in pretty quick. So make sure your endo, it's not miscommunication. So often I find patients aren't doing what they're supposed to and then will blame it on their doctors, whether they're endocrinologists or whatever. So I think people who, oh, I don't really like him. Well, wake up. There could be a reason why you're not doing that. But so often you can ask a hospital, you can ask for a referral from your GP to say, hey, I want an endocrinologist. Can you suggest some? Even if they've referred one and you guys don't click, you can go and say, hey, is there another endocrinologist that you can refer me to? Be prepared to wait. It's great, but just like any doctors, they're getting harder and harder to see. I can remember as a kid, and granted, this was GPs, but you could make an appointment and you could pretty well see them the same day, go in and get your prescriptions or whatever you needed. Nowadays, there's a little bit more lax because they're not as plentiful as there maybe were, and there's twice as many people trying to get in and see those doctors. So those are the two that you could take a look on the BC College of Physicians and Surgeons. If you're not in BC, British Columbia here, other provinces will have a board similar. In the States, I'm sure each state has a board. And you can take a look there. Again, be prepared to wait. Some of them, if you call them up and say, hey, I'd like to see, you are going to need a referral from your GP. If you say to your GP, oh, I'd really like to go see this doctor, can we go see it? You are going to have to get a referral. So speak to your family doctor first, or your GP, or your nurse practitioner. They will be able to refer you to one, or you may get one, but you may have to wait from emergency room. Just don't think going to emergency is going to fast track you. And with that, we're going to call it a day here. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me